And economics is this strange discipline. Few people understand it, but everyone feels the effects of it. So when you go to the gas station or when you visit the local grocer, chances are you have sensed something is off. Most notably, the prices. Now things are getting more expensive globally. Your fuel, your cooking oil, your vegetables, every commodity is becoming more expensive. The question is why? One reason is the war in Ukraine. Global supply chains are under threat. And when that happens, prices go up. But that's not the only reason. You see, the global economy is at an inflection point now and people are vaccinated. Wuhan virus cases are down, lockdowns have disappeared. So the world is looking at the next phase. The phase of economic recovery it is, but before that, they have to deal with the past, the period between 2020 and now. What was the highlight of that period? Well, it was massive spending. Every country was announcing stimulus packages and they had two objectives. One is to cover the pandemic-linked expenditure like masks, PPE kits and vaccines, and two, keep the economy afloat. The private sector stopped investing during the pandemic years, as we all know. So someone had to keep spending money, and that someone was the government. How much money are we talking about here? The G7 alone spent $8 trillion. India announced packages worth $300 billion. All of this money flooded into our economy. At the time, it was needed because money was not the priority, saving lives was. But in economics, like in life, actions have consequences. What happens when you flood the economy with money? Well, when you spend too much, prices begin to rise because too many commodities are being chased by too few prices. In other words, inflation it is, and that's what's happening right now. Take a look at this table. In Argentina, inflation is at 52%. In Brazil, it's 11%. Canada, 5.7%. The highest in 31 years. In France, it is 5.1%, its highest level since December of 1985. Well, India too is feeling the pinch. Inflation here is at 6.95%, highest level since 2020. In Australia, it is 5.1%, the worst level since 2001. So prices are rising in every continent, and the result is this, that central banks are stepping in to raise interest rates. India did that yesterday. Reserve Bank of India hiked interest rates by 40 basis points. The new lending rate is 4.4%. It was first policy hike in almost 4 years. Now, what does this mean for you? In simple words, less money to spend. When interest rates rise, loans become more expensive, your monthly payments go up, and this causes a chain reaction. People will spend less, and gradually inflation will ease. India is not the only country doing this. Australia did the same on Tuesday. US Federal Reserve, it has done that as well by hiking interest rate by 50 basis points. Europe, Canada, they all are doing the same. All these central banks are planning to hike interest rates. Basically, slow down spending is the reason. But by how much? Well, the G7 is shrinking its balance sheet by $410 billion. And to put that number in perspective, last year they added $2.8 trillion. This year they are slashing $410 billion. It's a complete turnaround for the world economy, and the last 2 years were about mindless spending. The next 2 or more could be about tight controls. Which brings us to the big question, what should you be doing with your money? Spend it, save it, or invest it? Now, what's the best option right now? Let's focus on India for the moment. Sensex dropped 1,300 points yesterday. It is up 300 points today. Nifty was also down yesterday. Now, could the market fall continue? It depends on what US Federal or other banks do in the outgoing and coming period. Now, foreign investors are waiting for this discussion and the decision, and the rumor is that overall there is tightening going to happen across the world. If that happens, foreign investors will flock to America. And where will they flock from? Well, possibly Asian markets. They are doing it already. Investors, they are dumping their money in the US now. WION now available in your country. Download the app and get all the news on the move.